Now, BMWs are usually more difficult to work on, and it doesn't make it any easier when they sit for years on end. That was the case with this 2006 550i. This vehicle was brought to us by a dealer back in 2017, and they had spent too much money for it at the auction, so they really didn't have the money to fix the problems with it. From what I can remember, it had a pretty big oil leak on the engine, and the dealer that owned it did not want to put the money into it to fix the oil leak. This dealer is still a friend of ours, and we'll leave his name unmentioned, but he wants to fix this thing up now, and he wants us to help him sell it. So we are going to be taking this vehicle and trying to get it back into a sellable condition where we can at least get the wholesale price out of it. It wasn't as hard as you think, so today we're going to go over everything we have done to get this BMW 550i back in sellable condition. Now, first I want to remind you, I'm here to help you. If you find yourself in a situation similar to this with an abandoned vehicle you're trying to fix up, or you have any other vehicle project you're working on you have questions about, feel free to email me at justcallmeeddie1@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I try to help people out with weekly content. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel here so I could keep posting these videos that maybe help you out or show you a little more about what I do. Now, this BMW has been sitting in this exact spot for actual years, as you can see with the vines growing through the tires. Initially, this thing looks like it may not start or may not fire right up, and we might have some module issues or anything like that from this car sitting so long. Up here on the hill here, up on the hill of the graveyard, we're trying to get all this brush cleaned up. And we got something that the brush grew into. This is this Beamer here. Car don't look bad on the inside. Damn thing smells awful. We got a 4.4 liter V8, but an alternator bracket that was leaking a long time ago. It's way down there. It was leaking oil. I don't think there is an oil dipstick on this thing. Maybe this is it. Is that it? That does look like motor oil, actually. Yeah, that's motor oil. It's actually got oil in it, don't it? Since this thing's been sitting for so long, we decided to get a battery instead of trying to jump this thing off with a jump box. A fresh battery will help the modules wake back up from sitting cold for so long, and maybe we will have less things to fix. That is our thought process. All right, hold on. Let's see if this thing starts up. See what messages we get on the dash here. Go ahead, start it up. There you go. There, now BMW. Oh, it started right up. Easy. Take. What do we got? Nothing much. Okay, well, close the door, pull it out slowly. Pull it out slowly here. All right. We got a flat. Let's take it slow. Once we got it in the air, to our surprise, the oil leak that had brought this car to us initially had disappeared. It did not look like it had been leaking oil, and that was until we started the vehicle with it on the lift, and then we saw oil leaking out. So this thing is only leaking under engine oil pressure, which means that it's leaking from something on the oil cooler or the oil cooler line, not something on the sump or the pan or the valve cover. And these BMW 4.8 liter V8s have an alternator bracket that has oil pressure running through it to the oil cooler. Basically, oil pressure bypasses through the alternator bracket and goes to the oil cooler. So we bought the gasket because it was only $10, and we decided to take this thing apart and see if that gasket was leaking. All right, Jay's got this thing with the power steering pump hanging down. All right, what else we got to get loose here? We got to get that bolt loose, huh? Got to get the alternator out of here, obviously. And then I guess there's a bolt right there. And then maybe there's some more on this back side. Maybe you gotta take this thing out. You gotta take this thing out probably to get the rest of it out, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're making progress. Alright, so I guess that's what that oil goes to. It goes to that thing. What the hell is that thing? Where's it at? This thing. What the is that?
I told you.
What is that? What is that supposed to do? Is that oil cooler?
Oh yeah.
Is that what that runs to? Okay. The alternator's out. We got that out. We got the power steering pump hanging down. You had to take the trans cooler off of the radiator, which bolts up that way. Right here. Anyways, now we got to get the motor mount bracket off, which I told him he had to do, but he didn't believe me. But anyway, motor mount bracket, this bolt.
He's capping.
And there's another 2 bolts on the other side.
2 of them are pass-through bolts.
Yeah, you already got all the bolts off the front here for the bracket.
I just got the top bolt up there, that bolt.
It's still not that bad, you know?
I just take it out without taking them out down and boom!
It's still not that bad for a BMW V8. But it is a lot of work. Okay.
Faux.
Alright, there it is. It's out of there. It's actually pretty clear once you get all that stuff out of there. You can see all the way to the manifold. It's pretty wild. A little bit involved in taking it down, but not too bad, honestly. Not too bad. So that seal is hard as a rock in there. Yep. Oh!
Close.
Alright, damn. It's like a piece of candy. It's like a Jolly Rancher.
It is. Like taffy. Wow. There's a new one out.
BMW's going back together. We got the alternator bracket cleaned up, the seal on it, and it's bolted back up there. He's got to put the motor mount back in, motor mount bracket, of course the alternator, that little intermediate that goes in between the oil cooler and the block and the alternator bracket that the alternator runs through. That's where our leak was coming from. He's got to put that back in. Got to put our power steering pump, our transmission cooler back in, our sway bar back up. So still got a lot of work to do, but it looks really good under here. It's pretty clean. We asked them to clean it up a little bit. It still needs a little bit of cleaning, but as long as the oil leak is fixed, that's the main issue. Now, I didn't do this job myself because I was working on other projects, but my tech Jay got this thing back together in a couple days, and it didn't take that long to do. But I always got to throw a couple jokes at him just to keep him humble. So after 5 months and about... No, I'm just kidding. About a couple days worth of work here. We got the power steering pack, got the cooler back, got the alternator back. Oh look, there's a belt on it too.
I got some mail yesterday.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, it's in the trunk.
Okay, good. Take the mailbox down, take the for sale sign, put the for sale sign up. Right?
Yeah, boy. Police.
Get it out of here. Okay, we got the oil change too?
Yeah.
All right, we changed the oil. You just got to believe us.
High performance, red.
You make sure it was full?
I haven't filled it up yet.
Okay, don't overfill it.
I won't.
We don't want to get stuff into CVC. All right, Jay, we're gonna try it. If it doesn't work, it's on you. It smells like mildew in here. There's a check engine light. We got a misfire.
Several days later.
Make sure you get a good shot now. All right, we got this 2008 BMW 550 back, and the oil leak seems like it's doing pretty well. We've driven it around a little bit, but we got a different problem going on now. So if you come over here this way. So when you start the vehicle, you can hear it misfire, you can feel it misfire, and it's not running quite right. So I went to my scan tool, and we were looking at the rough running values on the cylinders here. Now, this is an 8-cylinder BMW, So we got 8 cylinders to look at. Cylinder number 7, it almost jumped up to 3 right there. It's going all the way up to 1. It's floating at about 150 to 2. Sometimes it's jumping up to 3 or 4. That means we have something going on with that cylinder. That's probably the cylinder that's misfiring. All right, so this vehicle was sitting for quite a while, so it's definitely possible that the ignition coils are bad. But we're going to double check that and make sure. So what we're going to do here, let's come on over here. The ignition coils sit underneath of this thing. They sit underneath of this cover right here, and you just pop this cover off, and the coils are way down in there. We're going to find what cylinder 7. We're going to take the coil out of that cylinder and put it on another cylinder. And then when we put it on the other cylinder, we're going to see if we got misfires coming from that cylinder. If we do, then we just have a bad ignition coil. We're going to put some Bosch ignition coils on this thing from WorldPack. We should be good to go. The way the firing order goes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the cylinder 7 is this coil right down here. If you can see that coil right there. And to get these off, you need a E6 here. And we're going to take both sides off here because we're going to switch 6 and 7 here. We're going to see if the misfires fall at a 6. Oh man, that's tight. All right, there we go. That's a good coil, what we're thinking. That's 6. Now we're going to get 7 out here. So when we swapped the coils, it turns out that cylinder 6 started misfiring. So that means we had some bad ignition coils. And I've tried different ignition coils on BMWs, but the only ones that work the best for me are Bosch, and that is the OEM brand. I got them from a parts supplier called WorldPack. You may be able to get them in your area, you may not. But look for Bosch coils if you're working on a BMW. Even though we didn't have to, we did the complete tune-up on this thing with coils and plugs. It's always a good idea to replace things in pairs that go together, like coils and plugs, and like brake pads and brake rotors, which we also had to replace on this vehicle because the rotors were cut significantly. The pads weren't as bad, but like I said, we replaced things in pairs that go together. We didn't have to do much else to this vehicle. We had a small antifreeze leak on the lower radiator hose, and we had to clean it up and get the smell out of it. Now all that is left is a few other cosmetic issues like a window not working and a TPMS light sticking on, but it's not too bad for a car that's been sitting for nearly 6 years. Initially, when we first got this project in the building, I thought we were going to have modules and other things and electrical problems to look at, but this thing actually drives and runs nicely now after a tune-up and fixing the oil leak. So if you have a BMW just sitting outside in your parking lot or your driveway, and it's been sitting there for years and you're afraid to go out there and try to fix it up, get you a new battery, go out there, see if it starts, fix the oil leaks, fix the misfires, and drive the thing. Because I guarantee fixing it is not going to be as bad as you think. And if you have any troubles, you can always email me at justcallmeeddie1@gmail.com, and I'll help you out with anything that you have a problem with. Until my next video, you can go follow me on Instagram and Facebook where I try to post weekly content. Stay tuned for my stories because I just may be giving out a free t-shirt for you. And once again, thank you for subscribing, thank you for being a follower, and thank you for your support. Until next time, whatever you do, however you do it, make sure you work hard, make sure you play hard, and most importantly, make sure you stay dirty. You can just call me Eddie.